We're back at it again with another Battlefront update. Last week saw reports of more and more bugs being discovered from the last big game update, some minor while others a bit more impactful to the general gameplay. In addition, the rather long EA server outage didn't help to make things better, but that has now started a dialogue within the community and improvements to the game are well on their way. In this video, we cover the upcoming bug fixes, DICE's stance on private servers, and even some new spicy teases for future content. And before we get into any of that, but a quick reminder, as if you do like these type of videos, then do remember to give it a like to show your support for not only this update series, but also the content within it. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Starting things off, DICE released the community calendar for March, which showcases all of the upcoming in-game events. Right now, the Farm Boy Luke appearance event is active until the 9th, so if you haven't unlocked that yet, then now might be your last chance to ever do so. Then afterwards, the Princess Leia of Alderaan appearance will run from the 13th to the 16th. Then a special event called Unlimited Power from the 20th to the 23rd will see 9 heroes be available per side in Galactic Assault. And heroes, reinforcements, and vehicles all will be 75% off and no spam timer as well. So if you're into chaos, then this is the event for you. Lastly, the 27th to the 30th will see Triple XP be available in Galactic Assault, Supremacy, Starfighter Assault, Extraction, and Strike. We've also got some very good news regarding some annoying bugs getting fixed real soon, as DICE have announced that we should be expecting to see a new patch drop next week. According to Ben Walk, the patch will include a number of fixes, such as for the bug which places everyone on the same team or the visual glitch that has the wrong bot appearances in co-op mode, like the Imperial officer wearing Rebel gear, for example. For now, we don't have a specific list or release date on when this patch will be dropping, but Ben did say we'll be getting the full details for the patch next week before it releases. And seeing as this is a small emergency patch, I personally wouldn't go into it expecting fixes to any of the major bugs. As for those, we'll have to wait until the March game update. However, the small bugs, which are easier for DICE to deal with, like bot appearances and don't take up too much quality assurance work, then that's exactly what these small emergency patches are meant to deal with. Another thing that actually got confirmed to be included in the patch is a fix to the bug that caused the rebels to only appear in one place in Jabba's palace in co-op. Which, while the bug itself does look incredibly goofy, especially when you look at how they all stand single file and await their demise, players looking to take advantage of this easy farming bug will need to hurry up and do so now, as when the patch comes out, then this is going to be a thing of the past. And while it wasn't mentioned yet, I think there's a good chance that Boba Fett being included in co-op mode will be made a part of this patch, as DICE Live Service Director Manuel Lanes confirmed that they are going to be adding him into the mode now. And seeing as this isn't something too major, then I'd expect this to be included in next week's small patch. Moving on, but we've got some other news to cover on fixes or things DICE are looking to do or add possibly for the March game update. For starters, Ben has revealed DICE are looking to tweak the use of the Play Any button. Currently, when the Play Any button is used in co-op, you come across a planet from a certain era, and then you have to play the entire rotation of that era before being able to change it. However, now in the future, this button will allow you to change the era after each and every game. So if you play a couple of co-op games in, say, the prequel era, then you'll be able to switch into the original or sequel era without needing to back out into the main menu. Not too major, but for sure a decent quality of life change for the people who actively play a lot of co-op. Another interesting quality of life change coming to co-op too will be the ability to respawn on teammates who are currently in combat. But before they do add this in, DICE are still trying to figure out another way to penalize players when getting killed by the bots. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this, as I see it kinda spoiling players in co-op, where you'll get too used to being able to instantly spawn on your teammates in combat and then you'll get ticked off when not being able to do so in any of the PvP multiplayer modes. Which then, as a result, we could see people complain about that and try to force DICE to remove that limit on those modes too. Then again, I'll wait and see first what new penalty DICE will decide on, whether it's gonna be something good or bad before really making any final judgments on this. So we're just gonna have to wait and find out. Next, we could also soon be seeing a buff for one of the new original trilogy weapons. And I'm sure most of you already know which weapon I'm talking about. But if not, then yes, the weapon in need of a buff is indeed the Cycler Rifle, which has for sure seen way more negative than positive reviews for it by players since its release. Fortunately, for all the folks really wanting to use the Cycler Rifle, Ben has indicated that the DICE team are currently looking into the possibility of improving the Cycler Rifle. How they'll go about that, we don't know yet. But hopefully they do end up fixing the base damage for it, as right now it takes way too much damage to even take down a heavy. Like 4 shots are needed and the rifle can only do 3. And in addition to a damage buff, the Cycler Rifle needs a reload animation instead of a cooldown, and it definitely needs to be able to shoot through shields. Because that's really what made the Cycler Rifle unique back in Battlefront 2015. As back then, it was an actual Tusken Raider weapon using physical bullets, while this Battlefront 2 version is more of a blaster, which, yeah, I know most of you don't like it when I complain about the cannon in this game, but the Cycler Rifle being a blaster rather than a projectile shooting weapon, well, let's just say it's about as canon as the First Order TIE Fighter wing randomly showing up in the Death Star 2 map. So yeah, definitely not canon, and despite popular belief, DICE do need reminders from time to time on what is and what isn't canon. Anyways, some other good news to report on is that a major bug for lightsaber combat is going to be soon addressed in the March game update. And for all those who don't know what I'm talking about, since the last game update, all of the dodge attack animations shown for the lightsaber heroes have been completely removed from the game. Like, they're just gone. And as a result, now you're disallowed from attacking immediately after dodging, which isn't practical and obviously not something intended by DICE. Fortunately, Ben has commented on this and confirmed that DICE are working to correct this, but based on how complex this bug could be, then it's more likely to be fixed in the March game update than, say, next week's small patch. Just wanted to put that out there so nobody gets their hopes up for this to be included in the small patch, as this is a pretty big kind of deal. Moving on, last week's recent EA server outage not only angered plenty of players, but as well got people talking about alternative server options for Battlefront 2, and in turn started a conversation for private servers like server rentals. Which would not only be an amazing thing to have to avoid, the server outages that may happen again in the future, but as well give players access to making servers with custom map lists, restrictions to certain heroes, weapons, or anything really. When asked about the possibility to rent servers like in Battlefield, Ben Walk admitted that DICE have thought about it, but for whatever reason decided against it, and currently have no plans about changing this. Suffice to say, this answer will surely disappoint everyone eager to move away from EA's main servers in favor of private servers. But seeing how DICE considers Battlefront's player base to be more of the casual gamer type than compared to, say, the more tech-savvy crowd on Battlefield, then I can see why they'd see it as a waste of time and resources to implement private server support for Battlefront 2. Not saying I agree with their decision, but from their point of view, I suppose I can somewhat understand it. Lastly, I wanted to touch up on some of the latest teases for future content that have come from Ben Walk, and these relate to not only a new villain skin, but potentially a new hero too. But first we're going to be talking about the new villain skin, which DICE have said we're going to be seeing new villain skins be coming out real soon. And if they are to drop in the March game update, which is part of the original trilogy season, then it's only logical to assume that they're going to be starting with the original trilogy villain appearances first. And some of the main ones that come to mind is Vader and Palpatine. However, I'm now thinking we could also be seeing a Maul appearance too. As, I don't know if you've noticed, but Ben lately has been tweeting out a lot of Maul images. Consistently too. And if you've been following the game for quite some time now, then you're well aware Ben is known to tease new content in this kind of way. I mean, one person even pointed this out to see if Ben is teasing us for a new Maul appearance. And Ben replied with only another cheeky Maul gif, or gif, whatever you want to call it. And considering that Maul does appear in the original trilogy era in both Rebels and Solo in 2 different outfits, then I think there's a pretty good chance we could be seeing a little something of at least one of those be coming out real soon. And to continue the speculation of teases, when Ben Walk was asked if Mace Windu would ever become a hero in Battlefront 2, then let's just say Ben's response to this was interesting. As rather than ignore the comment altogether or just say no, he replied with, "We're in the age of rebellion," basically avoiding the question, which again is incredibly unusual for Ben. Remember, if something for sure isn't coming to the game, then Ben will always say so. He's incredibly blunt that way. And him reacting to this question the way he did might be something worth thinking about. Now, could this very well be a tease for Mace Windu? Potentially, sure. Especially given Ben's history of openly shooting down any suggestion for content which is guaranteed to never be in the game. Although what definitely is for sure here is Ben didn't say no to Mace Windu ever coming to the game. So that means they could still be considering him as a new future hero down the road. It's not a guarantee by any means, but they're open to the idea. And since we know DICE are planning on returning back to the prequel era after finishing the original trilogy season, then anything is certainly possible, especially with DICE's passion and enthusiasm toward that era. And I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't let you all know about this. Of course, that's not to say this tweet is hard evidence or anything like that. But again, it is something worth thinking about given Ben's attitude and frequent past history with teases for future content. Based on this, DICE are at the very least open to the idea, but not committed. And talking about Mace Windu or any other prequel hero is still too early. But that's not to say the conversation won't return here once DICE do resume the Clone Wars content again. And once they do, then I have a feeling we're gonna have a lot to talk about. But that'll do it for this Battlefront update. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel to not only support it, but keep up with Star Wars news, gaming, and canon lore released every week. And consider following me on Twitter and Facebook to never miss out on the latest Star Wars content. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.